Hello everyone, and welcome to my B&B Gossips update channel. I hope everyone is having a wonderful day. Before we begin, please hit the subscribe button and give this video a thumbs up. When Will and RJ start fighting, the Electra battle gets intense. Spoilers for The Bold and the Beautiful suggest that the conflict between Will Spencer and RJ Forrester will undoubtedly get out of hand. Ivy Forrester's dubious scheme and RJ's actions toward Electra Forrester are causing serious problems. The moment Will saw RJ kissing Electra in the Forrester showroom, he was furious. Will was completely taken aback and furious when RJ crossed that line with the woman he still loves. Will had hoped that he and Electra could reconcile, but Ivy has been making every effort to make sure their breakup is permanent. The competition between RJ and Will undoubtedly produce a great deal of drama, regardless of how this plot develops. You can guarantee that Will eventually confront RJ for kissing Electra. Will might approach RJ directly and deck him to begin their inescapable confrontation. RJ could, of course, hammer Will back and make this fight more exciting. This might turn into a heated argument over Electra and result in some exciting moments. RJ can be accused by Will of attacking Electra when she was weak. However, RJ would counter that if Will had treated Electra well in the first place, he wouldn't have needed to console her. In any event, there's a considerable probability that insults and threats will be exchanged along with fists. It's possible that Will and RJ are preparing for some very dramatic situations. Someone like Rich Forrester might intervene to break up a conflict between RJ and Will if it takes place at Forrester Creations. It's simple to see Rich supporting his son and getting upset with Will for using their office as a boxing ring. If Will doesn't quit first, Rich might fire him. In one way or another, Will might be leaving Forrester and possibly starting a job at Spencer Publications. Don't miss all the surprises and upheavals that lie ahead, because according to Spoilers for The Bold and the Beautiful, RJ and Will's argument may result in unpleasant news. For this reason, Katie has turned pathetic. According to teasers for The Bold and the Beautiful, she has led a very wealthy life, but her constant whining belies it. Since many of the show's viewers concur that Katie Logan has become rather pathetic for this one reason, it is obvious that we are discussing her. This is due to the fact that she frequently claims that nothing is her fault, and that she has become so sensitive that she sobs at every minor annoyance. Has Katie lost her confidence in herself? Or had she never had it in the first place? Naturally, a lot of fans of The Bold and the Beautiful express their opinions about Katie's character and the potential direction of her plot. Katie is allowed to be strong for 2 weeks, then she resorts to the wallflower who can't stand up to her sister, said one commenter. The show today is absurd. Why is Katie unable to ask Eric, who is a year old, what's going on over the phone? After Katie confronted Brooke, she resorted to saying, "I'm sorry, I'm not as good as you, Katie," according to another program critic. I concur that Bill ought to have avoided being around Katie. Eric should be held responsible, in my opinion, for approaching Katie and proposing to be her chief designer. Katie should see Eric and inquire as to why he offers to be the head designer before changing his mind. Additionally, there was this comment: "Before Bill gave Katie a fashion house, I didn't think she was a winner. She lacks leadership abilities, doesn't know how a fashion firm operates, and doesn't realize how much work goes into starting a new collection." Until they were threatened with losing him, Katie and Bill put an impossible task on the back of a year-old man and showed no empathy. On the other hand, fans will just need to watch to see what happens next. In the interim, please share your ideas with us in the space provided for comments below. Double dip, poison ivy and slick moves. According to teasers for The Bold and the Beautiful, a preview clip has been made available for the upcoming week. Ivy Forrester is depicted dispersing her poison. There is a character who double dips. In addition, one woman has a cunning move. Find out what will happen next in the CBS soap drama by reading on. First, let's talk about Ivy. The woman is making every effort to prevent Electra Forrester from returning to Will Spence. Even Electra's loving letter to Will was stolen by the woman. Knowing that Electra would interpret it as a breakup, the woman also placed Will's broken jewelry on her desk. Ivy has now threatened Daphne Rose. As if that weren't enough, she then took advantage of poor RJ Forrester. RJ was also duped during his last romantic relationship. Ivy's use of RJ in this way must make you feel horrible. Ivy keeps telling Electra how much Will has let her down while she sobs uncontrollably. Even after Ivy's talk, Electra still appears unsure and distraught. The fact that Electra and Will are still unable to speak in person doesn't help either. Ivy's secrets will be revealed after that. Given that they both work at Forrester Creations, she can't keep them apart indefinitely. Dylan, in the meantime, claims to know exactly how to cheer Will up. The art student puts her arms around the young man's neck and gives him a passionate kiss when he asks what it is. According to spoilers for this week's episode of The Bold and the Beautiful, Deacon Sharp eventually shows Sheila Carter Sharp some affection. It seems that Deacon was unable to resist indulging his wife, but Taylor is horrified when Sheila tells her this. Deacon later rushes to see Taylor at the hospital. He tries to patch things up when she brings up Sheila boasting about his enthusiasm. Deacon says he was thinking about Sheila the entire time they were in bed. Taylor collapses into Deacon's arms as he explains this to her. They give each other a forceful kiss that smashes their faces together. But how are they going to handle Sheila? Steffi Forrester Finnegan is right to be concerned, even though Hope Logan Spencer and Deke Sharp want their father with Taylor. Which plotline do you most want to see this coming week? Thomas has returned to meddle with Hope's marriage. According to previews for The Bold and the Beautiful, Hope Logan and Liam Spencer might want to watch out for a potential threat to their family. If Thomas Forrester continues to work at Hope for the future, he might end up posing a threat to Hope and Liam's marriage. Hope was content working with her brother, Deke Sharp, and had no desire to collaborate with Thomas once more. But regardless of Hope's feelings, Steffi Forrester urged that Thomas return, and she even had her fire her own brother from his position. From Paris, Thomas has been working remotely. At the moment, Thomas didn't want to move back home and uproot Douglas Forrester. But as the fashion show draws nearer, Thomas would need to visit Los Angeles more frequently to check the designs and make sure they looked the way he had envisioned. When Thomas arrived in town and found out that Rich Forrester and Brooke Logan had remarried, he became enraged. Thomas kept talking about how he and Paris Buckingham had split up and how he needed his family right now. At that moment, was Thomas reconsidering his choice to end his relationship with Hope? When Thomas faced Brooke at the moment, he pretended to be on the verge of losing it. Could Thomas have made the decision to pursue Hope and do whatever it took to win her back? As soon as he can separate Hope and Liam, is Thomas resolved to dissolve Hope's marriage and try to get back in touch with her? In the past, Thomas has been known to utilize Douglas, his son, as a means of strengthening his bond with his mother. It's likely that Thomas will want some family time with Douglas if he starts to spend more time in Los Angeles, regardless of Hope's desires. Will Thomas use Douglas once more to further his own agenda, putting Hope and Liam at odds? Thomas hasn't mentioned finding a new romantic partner, or mending his relationship with Paris. Knowing that Hope and Liam have remarried may make Thomas feel even more alone. What would happen if Thomas developed a renewed obsession with Hope? If Thomas had waited a bit longer, he could even start to think that Hope might have accepted his engagement. Will Thomas attempt to separate Hope and Liam once more? This could be the true issue facing Eric Forrester. According to spoilers for The Bold and the Beautiful, fans appear to be experiencing sadness and boredom, instead of the pomp and glitter that everyone had anticipated. Yes, we are referring about Eric Forrester, who appears to have fallen short of everyone's expectations as the new head designer at Katie Logan's fashion show once more. And not because he is incapable of performing the job. Rather, it could be that he no longer possesses the same spark. After all, it is obvious that Rich Forrester, his own son, forced him out of Forrester Creations. Additionally, he doesn't seem to have the same drive or inventiveness now that he's at Logan. And watching Eric in this state is devastating for many show viewers. The man is no longer in touch. Naturally, a lot of fans express their opinions about the issue and the potential direction of this plot on social media. I thought Eric was going to teach Ridge a lesson and demonstrate that age doesn't have to be a limitation. Some people even wrote in their comments. Rather, the SL portrays him as an elderly man incapable of performing his duties normally. In addition to being uninteresting, this Eric deathbed plotline also seems to be in danger of completely stealing the Logan rivalry plotline, which was, in fact, captivating and had the potential to proceed in a somewhat novel and intriguing direction, according to another show critic. Additionally, there was this comment. Many 90-year-olds are livelier than Eric Forrester. Why not bring in a long-lost relative of Stephanie's and create some drama around him instead of writing him off as an elderly annoyance to Ridge? Ivy threatens Daphne after encouraging RJ to pursue Electra, and Dylan reassures Will. When Will told Dylan about the kiss, Daphne discovered that Ivy had taken advantage of Electra and Will. Daphne completes the puzzle in the Forrester showroom, while Electra describes how her necklace was left in its place, and her note to Will vanished. In a flashback, Daphne witnesses Ivy stealing Electra's letter. She assures Electra that she will do everything in her power to support her, because she understands what heartbreak is like. Electra tries to work after she departs, but all she does is blink and stare at her phone. Ivy and RJ concur in the design office that Will isn't deserving of Electra. Electra objects about Dylan living with Will, but Ivy rants about it. She says she would never meddle in her niece's life, but she wants to protect her. They discuss how much RJ loves Electra as she works. He feels compelled to shield her since she possesses every trait he had been seeking. He acknowledges that kissing her was already a mistake. Ivy chuckles and inquires about her niece's reaction. According to RJ, she made it obvious that it couldn't occur again. He acknowledges that. Ivy tells him to persevere. She believes Electra would benefit from having someone like him. After he departs, Daphne arrives and informs her about Electra's distress. She mentions the letter. Ivy brushes it aside. Daphne acknowledges that she witnessed her taking the letter. She asks, "What are you up to?" This implication bothers Ivy. Will used to be someone she liked, but he continues to disappoint her niece. He even had sex with a different woman. Daphne says she must allow them to work this out. This is all improper. Ivy gripes and tells her to keep her mouth shut. Daphne is not interested in becoming embroiled in any drama. Ivy warns her against it. Will is unsuitable, and she is Electra's guardian. Daphne claims that Ivy is directly to blame for her niece's devastation. "Daphne, don't you dare tell anyone about this," Ivy cautions. Will informs Dylan at each home that he saw Electra kissing RJ. Despite his pain, he refrained from strangling RJ. If he beat Ridge's son's ass, the Forresters would fire him. Furthermore, Electra wasn't coerced. How come she abandoned him so fast? Dylan holds himself responsible for all of his issues. She knows he didn't do anything wrong and she didn't either. He concurs, but Electra continues to trust her aunt more than them. He cannot, however, hold Ivy responsible for Electra kissing RJ. Dylan is not at fault, he reiterates. She doesn't have to leave, he continues. He wants her there, but she believes it might be for the best. Will requests that she keep the kiss a secret. He finds it unbelievable that Electra left him for another man. RJ goes back to the showroom to see how Electra is doing. He desires to support her. Will has made his decision, she says. According to RJ, it was the incorrect one. RJ believes she is too attractive to be crying. He reiterates that her heart is secure in his care, and that he is there for her.